Hi everybody, welcome to another video of Witchy Wednesday. And thank you guys for being patient with me. I know there's a couple of you that have reached out to me asking about the second half of the Pagan Tarot walkthrough. So I really apologize for that, but I'm here and I'm really excited to go over the second half, which is the Minor Arcana for the Pagan Tarot. So as you've seen in the first video, I really have a love affair for this deck. I just love it so much. It just hits home on a lot of different things, and if you are a practicing witch or trying to get initiated into a coven, or really just kind of getting more into your pagan roots, I honestly can't recommend this deck enough. So there's a lot to get through, a lot of cards, way more than your major arcana. So I'm gonna not jibber jabber and let's just get on with it. Before we get started, I actually want to go through some of the artwork and the overall feeling that's intended with this deck, right? So here we have the cups, wands, the swords, and the pentacles. And they are represented here through seasons, as you can see. So the cups is representing a very spring-like energy. The wands, we go into summer, where you can see is more dry. The swords are moving towards more fall energy, and then with the pentacles, with winter. So when you are looking at the major arcana, I know that in the beginning it can be very overwhelming. You have all these cards and all these symbols and all of these different suits and what they mean and different energies, and let's just try to break it down. And I know there are other very well-known tarot readers and tarot instructors, so if you need more help on this, I definitely suggest that you look. And I can also do a very detailed Tarot Type 101 video if you like the way that I describe things. But in its simplest form, I really urge you, when you're looking at decks, is to just break them apart, right? Piece by piece. So what are really the most important things to the major arcana or tarot cards in general? So we're looking for the suits. So when you're thinking of the suits, let's go through them. So the cups are very emotional. The cups are going to give you the experiences and the emotional moments in your life, a very watery chalice type energy. So when you're dealing with the cups, you know that you're looking for an emotional response. The wands are more of a spiritual. It's fire energy. So it's spiritual challenges, things that you can identify yourself without labeling, any ethical standards or things like that. Those are the things that you're going to look. It's a very fire, very personal, very spiritual representation. The swords are all about your mental and intellectual things. So anything that is on your mind or things that you are looking internal to get by using intellectual thoughts, that's what the swords are going to represent. And then lastly, the pentacles is all about the earth, the physical, the labor. So a lot of times when you see pentacles, you'll see images of people working, because in the social class of all of the suits, the pentacles are really your hard workers, your laborers, your physical, the earth energies. So that's just the suits. Let's take a second to review the numbers. So I will go through this more in depth as we look at the cards, but very quickly, an ace represents new beginnings. So in any one of these situations, you can take your element. So if you have, let's just say, the Ace of Cups, it's a new beginning, maybe a new relationship, a new feeling of wanting to do something that it means a lot to you. See, so we took the number, Ace, new beginnings, and we took the emotion from the actual suit. And how easy is it to really automatically get a reading from this card just by knowing those two things once you break it down. 3 is a number of completion. 4 is more about stability. We'll go through that later. 5 is really a challenge card. So more than likely, if you get a 5, it's not to say that it's going to be negative, but it's definitely impacting your life as a challenge. And it's just very difficult. It may also be a turning point in any situation. So 6 is more of cleansing, letting go. 7, of course, we all know is a lucky number. So it's about fortune and comfort and confidence to grow. 8 is all about challenges that are hard to get a benefit from or a payoff. So if you're looking for a payoff or you're looking for something that's really the answer to a problem and an 8 comes, that may be a challenge for you. And 9, more like 3 is completion, but 3 is a completion of projects, thoughts, and things like that. 9 are really completions of bigger things in your life. So that could be like a marriage or a relationship or something that's very, very rewarding and a completion in your life. Number 10 is more of a completion. So just like we have 3 and the 9s of a completion of something that's kind of gone full circle, 10 is really the completion of the element, of the suit, of really what you're looking at in your spread. So it's energy, and that can be success or fail, again, whether that's negative or positive. So again, numerology is very, very important to tarot. Numerology is important to my practice, but by all means, numerology does not really belong to witchcraft, like singularly, right? Like anyone can practice numerology, whether you're anything. And really, just like sacred geometry, there's more science in it than there is magic properties, if you want to look at it that way. So if you are interested in numerology at all, I would definitely suggest giving it a shot, because there is much work, answers, and practice to be said with numbers. So, all right. Whew. Okay, so let's move on. I'm really excited to go through this. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a long video, so if you want to stop now, take a break, get something to drink, get a coffee, get a snack, I suggest doing that, because we're going to go through all of these, not as detailed as the majors, but I promise you I'll go as fast as I can. But I really want to give these cards their due time, because they are perfection, they are beautiful, and I'm upset. Okay, so we are going to start with the Ace of Cups. If I haven't said this already, this tarot deck is very Rider-Waite-Smith. So if you are very comfortable with the RWS version or layout or symbologies of those decks, then you should have no problem with this. But one thing I really love about intuitive reading is really looking at the picture. So the Ace of Cups is beautiful, detailed of this chalice, and you have the water energy, and it's really, again, like I said before, about new beginnings. You have the dolphins kind of in unison swimming away, kind of like the full energy, where it's like. So I just brought you in a little bit closer so you can see the details. I love the artwork in this deck. It's really not a collage deck. It's a true piece of art. And the artwork is kind of a collaboration between Raimondo and Spondini, if you know those creators. One's the actual artist and one is a colorist. So I just want you to see the details here. But Two of Cups is really, it's a true lover's card, right? So it's typically you see it with a man and a woman, but really what I love here is it's demonstrating that the Two of Cups, your true love is yourself, and it's yourself as your highest form. So if you were meditating and you were trying to get into your higher self, that's who you will meet, and that should be your one true love. Beautiful. Three of Cups here is our witch is having celebration. So 3 is all about that emotional energy to celebrate. Something has gone pretty good. Again, something has completed. whether that be a project and it's time to celebrate with friends. So the Fourth of Cups, our witch here, is really just feeling dissatisfied, right? So she has other cups. She has 3 other cups. They're also beautiful in different sizes, and it's really not doing it for her, right? She's in a picnic. She's not really enjoying herself because she really can't get her mind off of this other ornate cup. So that could be you. You could be just emotionally immature, or just at a situation where you may have everything that you need, but you're still searching for something better. Five of Cups is to kind of piggyback off the Four of Cups, is that you're really kind of emotionally not ready to let go, right? So you have your coven mate who has 2 full cups. He's behind you. He's kind of has a smile on his face, and he's ready to give you and share that energy, that happy energy. But you really are in front of him, and you can't see the 2 cups that are full and ready for you to take on. So it's really time for you to let go and continue. Stop really worrying about the spilled milk, sort of say, and really look behind you, look forward, and grab a cup and kind of let go. I love this card so much. Like, I just adore this card. It's so sweet. So here we have our witch and her daughter, and she's kind of doing a tea party, and everyone, even the dolls and everyone, has cups with flowers in it. But this Six of Cups is all about kind of that nostalgia, right? That like going into your inner child and remembering what it was like in the simpler days. And really also is that as a mom, and you see the daughter giving her like a bouquet, that's a gift to her mom, right? And it's kind of showing that no gift is too small, right? So when the Six of Cups comes, you kind of want to not take things for granted, maybe look at simpler times, and anything that comes your way should be a blessing. Seven of Cups, also another beautiful card. So we have 7 cups that are full of things that our witch may want, right? So we can want the power or money, or maybe the wand. It could be something of trying to get respect in your coven. So this here, it would tell me, the 7 of Cups, is that emotional energy of not to get distracted by temptation, right? So you see how she's meditating here. The one true key here is that happiness is found within and not by materialistic things. The 8 of Cups, I love also this depiction. So as I said earlier, is that what I love about intuitive reading is really looking at the motion of the card. So here, an 8 of Cups is that our witch has really let go of all the things that were bothering her with the 4 and the 5. All the cups are turned over, and she's about to turn her 8th cup over. So let's just take a look at this card a little bit more in detail to help you read major arcana cards, especially if it's outside of RWS and having their own symbology. So here we have books, right? So this tells me that our witch has done some studying. And all the cups are turned over, which means that she's more confident and that she has her stick and is literally walking out the door. There's movement here of walking out the door. So with just these 3 symbols, you can get to the idea of that if this card appears in your reading, is that you fully let go of what was bothering you. You've done what it takes to kind of come to terms with it. That could be research, or that can just be time spent with yourself, and then you're ready to take on a new challenge. 9 of Cups is a completion number, as we said. So here we see our witch. She is in a shop. I love this guy's face because it looks like she's looking at her bum, and that is quite juicy, but you know, I love it. I love it because this is so modern, and this is something that you would see anyone wear now, but I digress. So our witch, modern witch, is going to a shop. And now really anything that she wanted to do emotionally that was either weighing her down or she wanted to become fruitful has come to fruition. So she's kind of enjoying the fruits of her labor where she has all cups, unlike the other ones where she couldn't see full cups or she was just too stuck on more innate ones and not happy with the ones that she has. She has no cups and all the cups are there in front of her. So now she gets to enjoy the fruit of her labors and decide which one she wants. The Tennant Cups is another beautiful card. It's really all about that emotional energy of finally fulfilling the circle of whatever it is that was either emotionally dragging you down or something that you emotionally had a goal that was wanting to be set. So it's come to fruition and it's a good ending. So 10 of Cups in this situation with the baby, the cat, and the dog, and all of the elements really shows a feeling of being united, and it's just gorgeous. I love this. I love how you have elders, you have children, you have all the 4 elements. It's just a very awesome depiction of everyone coming together in love. Now the next cards that follow are the elements. So the elements are really representing kind of pages. Then you have the novice, which is your knights. You have the initiate, which is a queen vibe. And then you have the elder, which is your highest form of practice, highest form of education in your coven. And that is represented by the king as the elder. So we'll look, these are the cards that I'm talking about. We'll look through these at the end because it's really nice to go through them all together. Okay, next we have the swords, and the swords are my mamma jamma. I love swords, and I really, as a tarot reader, you shouldn't play favorites, or you just shouldn't play favorites in general, but I can't help it. Swords are by far my favorite suit. It really just hits home for me. So here we have our first card, and there's actually a lot to be said by this card. If you look within its imagery and symbology. So what we know about the season of fall is that things are starting to kind of die. The circle of life is coming back to its end, and there's just change. When you look at the season and you look at the Sabbats that are in the season, Samhain is one of them. So Samhain is also kind of technically the witch's new year, which is the end of our pagan year. So it kind of all makes sense. I don't want to go too into it because I can go on and on forever, but like, just how beautiful is that? It just makes sense that we are going into the end of life cycle as we know it. We are going towards the end of our wheel of the year, our pagan wheel of the year. We have the stability that we need. We just need the ace, that ace energy, that really airy, let's get it done type energy with the swords. Next card is a Two of Swords, and possibly one of my favorite cards in the entire deck, image-wise and just card-wise. So here we have a Waning Crescent. Let's just break this card down. We have a Waning Crescent that's also coming towards the end of this moon cycle. So what we know about Waning Crescent is that the new moon is just ahead. So we can take that new moon energy that we're just about to get and make decisions. So unlike the Two of Cups or like the Lover's card, this isn't really a life choice. This is a choice of the mind, right? Like I said before, swords, it's all about intellect. This is a choice of the mind, and you're needing to make a choice, and you're having a duality here. So she's looking within intellectually to get the answers that she wants. And I just love the duality of the different swords. I mean, it's just a beautiful card. This is all about looking internally to make a decision in a conflict that you have. Three of Swords is completion again. And here the completion is most likely something that has hurt you deeply. It could be relationship. It could be not getting a job. So here we see a witch and she's kind of looking at probably a sad scene in the TV. And it's kind of probably reminding her of something and some thoughts. So when a 3 comes up, really that it seems that you are in your thoughts with something that has recently happened, where it's pure heartbreak or a loss of something that maybe you wanted to come to fruition and it didn't. 4 of Swords, it's all about rest. You need the rest. So 4 is, when we spoke about 4 in numerology, it's all about stability. So if you're not having balance in your life, or you're not giving yourself a rest, or you're thinking about other things, you can see by her clothes and by her sheets here that she's been tossing and turning, of pillows here. So it's really about calming the mind and getting some rest. 5 of Swords, we have conflict again. So, but here we're in a defense mode. So this 5 of Swords, beautiful depiction of if you or a friend are having some kind of trouble, it's best to unite forces, stick together, have each other's back, and you will have the kind of support that you need. 6 of Swords is all about kind of escaping and going a different direction from something that's not working. So it's really easy to gather your belongings. This couple has all of their swords and they're just leaving pretty much a catastrophic situation. So if you were to get this card preceding kind of, let's just say, a Tower card, so if you got the Tower card and got this, it's really like you are in a terrible situation. It's been like something has just come into your life, crashed. Take the bare necessities and really kind of take cover and find a place that you find solace and security. 7 of Swords, I really love this depiction because it's very different from the Rider-Waite-Smith. So Rider-Waite-Smith, if you remember, it's a man who has the swords, and you don't know whether he's leaving or like whether he's going to bring swords to someone or he's stealing. So it depends on how you read that. But here, it kind of is like the 7 is lucky. So in this 7, it's more of a fruitful card. So our witch here is going camping and she's going to set up, but when she clears the field, she notices that someone has already pitched the tent and kind of left her all of supplies that she needs. And if you notice that the supplies are the tools, right? So this is kind of like an Easter egg for the magician. Like these are all the tools that you need. So really, is when you get this card, it's just telling you that you're going to come into something that's lucky, or you're going to come into a situation where you really have all the things that you need. You just have to kind of clear your mind and understand that you don't need anything else. What you have is just right there. Another favorite card of mine is the 8 of Swords. Boy, do I love this card. It just represents that our witch here is blindfolded. She has nowhere to go, and she thinks that she's surrounded by the 8 swords, but she really just has to let go and let her guides kind of dictate where to go. And if she tries hard enough and she keeps at something, she'll realize that there is a clearing. She may not know it now because you may be stuck in a situation right at its beginning stages, but keep at it and practice, and you'll start finding little loopholes that will help you along. 9 of Swords, Wow, so this is really like a nightmarish type of card. So I love this depiction again more than the Rider-Waite-Smith because all of the swords are kind of pointing to her head, right? So it's really just, you're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to get anywhere by just crying all night with a situation that has happened. You're dealing with something that's really tough, and I get that. But it's all about not wanting worry to consume you, right? It's so easy to just let all of either guilt or worry or anxiety consume you. So this is a super powerful card, and I just love how the light works here, because this to me, even though it's night, but there's a light shining here, and the light is shining pretty much right in the middle of all of the swords, kind of right where her head would be. So even though they're all pointing to her head, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And I know it's easier said than done, but when the situation comes, you have to know that it does you no good to worry and to just dwell in your sadness. Coming to the end, so 10 of Swords here is just probably following the 9, and it's just, you've had enough. Our witch here has just had it enough. So she's A, throwing swords away, or she's B, kind of breaking them down with her foot to make them more manageable. So when you have 10 of Swords and you have the wrap up of this energy, it's air energy, it's sword energy, it's all about the mind, and it's breaking up things that are more tangible for you to accomplish. And maybe that could be your goals. So if you have a goal and it's really lofty, you might want to throw away other previous goals that are just lingering around and maybe not suitable to work on them now, or break them apart so you can get what you need a little bit better. All right, so that was the 10 of Swords. Again, we'll go through the court cards at the end. Okay, so we are pretty much halfway through the Minor Arcana, and if you have stuck with me so far, I really appreciate you watching. I hope you're enjoying so far. So if you are, please definitely give me a like, and don't forget to subscribe so you can possibly follow along on other tarot walkthroughs. I really love going through these cards, like more story-ish, especially with a deck like this. So if this is your jam, then definitely show me some love. So all right, we're going to continue with the Wands. Really another one of my favorite suits. So I just want to go over the Ace again. So with Wands, like we described, the element and the type of characteristics it holds is very spiritually challenging, right? So if we're using this as a pagan type of tool for divination and or our practice, Wands, to me, with that fire energy, is very passion, is very spiritually focused, and a lot of maybe different conflicts there. So you can kind of see that in this card. We have the wand, which is weird because it's very ornate, but it doesn't match this dry and hot like area, right? So the area is pretty bare, but then we have this ornate, really structural wand here. And then again, it's really hot and it looks like hot and dry, but then we have the background of somewhat of an abyss and a clearing of what could be water and vegetation. So there's a lot of conflict here. So as an ace, you really have to take that energy as new beginnings of something that's already like you're going to hit the ground running, right? So that's the Ace of Wands. The Two of Wands here is a perfect depiction of having that duality and making that choice and really letting go of something that you once knew or once practiced and trying something out new and letting it guide the light. So here our witch is using her ritual wand that she stuck in the ground and is kind of put out of that fire energy. And now she has a new wand with pretty much like a sparkling jewel here. I would love to think that's like maybe like a lapis lazuli to kind of give her that direction. I can see a little bit of light here, and lapis lazuli is really kind of like all about getting in tune with your like your psychic abilities and things like that. So that would be a perfect stone for this. But this is like purely what I see in the card. But again, making a choice, leaving old practice and knowledge behind, and really embracing the new. Three of Wands here is just beautiful. I know I say that a lot, but I'm telling you guys, I just like, it's just so good. So the Three of the Wands here, I really see myself here. So I think I've told you guys once before when I was going through my grimoire, I have a spell about employment. I've done that for a friend first. I've done it for myself, and over time, it's just really kind of become foolproof. So I really picture myself here. Like, this is me kind of doing some research, having the gems here. It's classified, maybe looking for a job. But the most important thing here is that there's 3 wands. And let me bring this closer because I absolutely adore this card. So there's 3 wands here. So the 3 wands you'll see here is that there's 3 types, and it's really all about balance, right? So you have one that's super ornate to your left side with the crystals. Then you have one that's pretty much wrapped with wire. And then you have one that's just a pencil. So really what this means to me is that you're taking all of the energy, something fundamental, something that's not very materialistic, and really the best of everything, and kind of honing that in to create a threefold law, right? So what our witch is doing here is that she's taking the 3 wands, which represents the threefold law. She's possibly helping out a friend, maybe find employment. She has the things that she needs here, and she's just practicing that by helping others and really taking the time to help someone else. It could be an employment, it could be anything. I'm just saying that because I relate this to myself. But what you put out in the world, you will receive it back threefold. So a beautiful card for just, if this comes in a deck, it really tells you to really help others by practicing the threefold law. 4 of Wands is really, and it kind of really hits with the RWS type imagery, where you have 4 pegs and you have the wreath kind of symbolizing stability and maybe possibly a marriage, but here is more so. Beautiful depiction of a marriage with your witch and her newly found husband, and it's just a joyous representation of all of the elemental energies going into that. So 4, it would be stability and really enjoying a part of your life where you would love to have the people who are there giving you that support and being there because they're genuinely happy for you. So when this card comes up in a spread, it's all about having that big moment in your life and sharing it with others who will not only be happy for you, but support you along the way. 5, again, now I'm talking, I'm trying to just bring in the numerology here. So 5 is about conflict, and we see that here. So 5, it's really the witch here has a purpose, but no one is really paying attention, not even her husband. So at this point, it's really a good time to kind of step back and reevaluate the situation. Maybe there's a time for you to be authoritative. So, and a little bit more aggressive, because you have your coven mates and the elements. Let me tell you, the elements are great to work with, but they're just a force to be reckoned with. So when you're dealing with elements, it's really, really important that you bring them into your practice. And when it's time to go, it's time to go, because they will wreak havoc. And it's so funny because I see that represented here. Sometimes the elements, when you work with them, they're like children. They just need some direction. So when you get a number 5 like this, conflict, it's something that you want done, but you really have to try to get some organization and try to be authoritative in what you need. 6 of Wands, really much like, I would say, the 10 of Cups. is all about like rejoicing and getting, you know, that reward for all your work. I see in this card that you have your witch who is in a stance of the goddess with her hands in a V formation, and then you have the male who has his legs together and his hands crossed. That's really more depicted of the god stance. So this just tells me that the success of them is due to the balance of both of them, due to the light and the darkness, working with your god and your goddess. And when you're connected to divine energy, it's just really a good time. This is a perfect card to tell you that your goals have been achieved. Not to worry, relax, and just enjoy and be in the moment that what you set out has finally come to fruition. Seven of Wands. Oh man, so this one is tough because really this has been a lot of us, and especially with this time and with this pandemic, it's like you have, this is your Seven of Wands, you have 6 wands, and I love to look at the coloring here. So they do a good job with seeing that the 6 of Wands are kind of in a red state. That's kind of danger, and they're all pointing towards her. So in this situation, we have a calculator, we have other pieces of paper, and this would represent to me that our witch is really financially going through it, right? She's getting bills and she's kind of feeling overwhelmed. She has all these people going after her. And much like the situation that we're going through with COVID-19, a lot of people are losing their jobs. A lot of people are going through financial hardship, and this may be you. But the Seven of Wands tells you that you see that she's taking her wand, almost like I would take a crystal, and it's almost like you're cleansing and you're giving good intuition to an intention to your bills. So maybe this could be a budget. I would think that this is a budget of all her finances, and she's kind of setting that in that intention. It's a good time to set intentions for things that are running against you, because it seems like the odds are against you. It's a good time to also ask for help, and that's what the man is here. So I understand that a lot of you are going through a tough time, but know that it too shall pass. It's good to do a budget. It's good to set your intentions, and it's really good to ask for help. So following this, and I'm just going to kind of, let's see if I can do like a little story here. So here is I see that the bills are kind of maybe getting stacked up, and it's just too much for her to bear. But then with the Eight of Wands, she comes to, you know, a kind of a stroke of luck. And now you see money in an envelope. She may have gotten a job, and now things are starting to look up. So with this tells me that the witch, because possibly she has helped her friend do that employment spell in the Three of Wands that you saw, so she's putting the cosmic energy in the threefold law, I believe that what she put out has finally come back to her, and maybe she landed something for herself, or maybe she's just come into some money, and she's finally getting the effect of that intention that she put back in the Three of Wands. So really, really powerful. I love that. I love when I actually see them together in a spread, because it really shows you how truly powerful the threefold law is. And then, not to say that the wands are pretty much just financial. It just, this is how I read it, and this it can be towards any situation. But here, the Nine of Wands is that, okay, so now we have the ends of a situation. It's funny here because she finally has the money that she got back from the cosmic type of reward. And I want to point this out. Unlike the 10 of Cups, because it's a reward of the emotion that you put in, the hard work that you put in, that's a different than cosmic reward. This is something that's karmic, and it's owed to you if you practice the threefold law. Whereas the 10 of Cups, it's a celebration of more hard work and something that you physically put into it. So I want to just point that out. So now that you come into money, it's funny because the witch here in the Nine of Wands, her car is getting towed, but right before it gets towed, and you see the elements there helping her out. I would love to think that they're kind of invisible because I see like the wands are kind of like glowing here. But I love to think that that's like an energetic thing, but they are helping her kind of put a protection over her car. And the repo guy or whoever this is, you know, he's kind of telling the tow man to stop because she finally has the money to pay for whatever bills that she was backed up in. So this is just it's all about timing and timelines. It could be a very stressful situation, but know that it's coming to an end, and really you're just in the nick of time to make things happen. So I love this progression, and this is why I love this deck so much, because it really tells a story. The Ten of Wands, I really love too, because I really do see myself in this. I'm telling you guys. So if you guys are in a coven and you take turns running Sabbats, I know ours do, and a lot of us get really excited when our assigned Sabbat rolls around and we get to practice for it. So this witch, this witch is really, she just finished probably conducting a ritual or a Sabbat, and she has her hands full, but look, everyone else left cups and wands and pentacles on the floor, and I'm dying because it's like you did all this work and you conducted the ritual and they just left and you're just left with their mess. So I really love this one because really just how you have the passion from the wands energy, and you have that spiritual desire from the fire energy, like we spoke about, and having the want to conduct this ritual and all of that. It may not be a ritual, maybe anything else that you are doing spiritually, but when you have so much passion and it finally comes through to fruition, you may have gotten a little bit more than what you asked for. On to the Pentacles. Ooh! Love, so excited. Thank you guys for hanging in there. We're at the tail end, so let's go through this. Okay, Ace of Pentacles. And boy, do I love Pentacles. I am a Taurus girl, earth sign through and through. I just absolutely adore the earth, winter, north type energies. And here you can really see how the strength of the Pentacles, right? Even just looking at it, it just looks like a very strong card. We have the winter snow with water coming through. So there's perseverance in the water, especially since it's running and it's not frozen. And then we have these little flowers that are, again, it's about like a force, right? It's about the boldness and really the strength of these flowers to kind of pierce through the snow and continue to thrive. So I really just love the Pentacles. You're going to see a kind of a little shift in the way the cards are drawn. So it's not going to be, I'll kind of show you, but there's not going to be like the numbers of the Pentacles. So if there's 3 of Pentacles, you're not going to necessarily see 3. It kind of gets just lost in the picture. And I like that and I don't like it, because I like how the cards and the deck is kind of following a pattern. But when it gets to the Pentacles, it's a very different type of feeling. And again, the Pentacles are all about labor. You're going to see a lot of work, and you're going to see a lot of things that are actually mundane and are probably very, they make sense to you. So when you get this in the spread, the Ace of Pentacles is all about a new force of energy, tangible projects, right? Things that you can start for projects, and they're all about creators and doing new hobbies and any like physical ailments and things like that. really love Pentacles because I am an artist and I am a creator, and I really do value the Ace when that comes up, because to me it's all about starting new projects and exploring my creativity. Because these cards just do have loads of detail, and I want to really kind of let you see that. All right, so the Two of Pentacles, I really love this card because here our witch is kind of coming from work, and she's meeting her coven mates for either a class or a Wicca 101 or initiation or whatever you're practicing. But if you notice, this witch right here is kind of like she's looking at her like, you're late again, or it's like, really, you know. And then you have this other witch who's kind of like a little passive and understands that, you know, she might be struggling with her mundane life. So when you have the duality like this in your life, when it comes to your spiritual practice, are you more of this witch that if you kind of have the means and have the knowledge, are you now looking down on other witches that don't? Or are you this person who is accepting of other people's paths and that they might have other things going on? So depending on which one you are, you may want to look at that in your own life, in your own path. Three of Pentacles is a really beautiful card because it's all about teamwork. So it's all about helping others achieve things that they want. So you may want to, if someone is needing help, or you get this card into a spread, it's really like kind of gathering around with your sisters and your brothers and kind of helping them out and doing spiritual work to get there. Four of Pentacles really is just so perfect for what's going on right now. So a Four of Pentacles, it's really just of kind of that hoarding, right? Like you have all the materialistic needs. And I love the image actually in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck where he has like the coins or the pentagrams and his on his feet, and he's holding them in his arms. It's like almost like you're kind of holding on to all of that. But if you notice here with the witch, is that there's a time of need, right? Or she, in her basket, is overly full with things that she may not need, and she knows that. And it's kind of what's happening with this pandemic, is that like people are in such a state of stress and anxiety and fear that they're going out and buying all of these rolls of toilet paper and buying all of this stuff. And it's like, you don't need to get more than what your means are. So when this card comes into a deck, it's all about stability because we're talking about four, but stability always doesn't mean that you get more than what you actually need. Five of Pentacles, another one. So it could be happening, especially today and the COVID pandemic going on, is that you have a lot of loss and a lot of people who are losing their job. Five of Pentacles, it's really that, again, that challenge, that conflict. This is all about poverty and loss of a job and unemployment. But again, you see how like there's really just one pentacle here. It's not like five pentacles and it's really a scene. You can really get lost in this scene, right? So like everyone is online. They don't look happy. She may have lost her job. But one thing that's really important here that I see is that there's a church back here, right? And there's her coven mates right back here. If you can see that. So what this tells me is that there's a struggle, right? And she can feel alienated, because the thing is that even though there's a lot of us who are struggling and we are going through a very serious time right now, not everyone is struggling and not everyone is in the same boat that you are. And when you get this card, definitely know that this may be on the rise for you. So at least you can look out for that and plan accordingly. A completely different card is the Six of Pentacles, where we are in the office. again, but if you notice here, this is one hand giving a pentacle to another hand, and it's kind of like an offering. So here, the Six of Pentacles, it's the witch is finding herself in good fortune where her boss is actually giving her a promotion or some type of raise. But the thing is, when we're in the situation, because we are laborers and laborers of love, especially with the pentacles, we have to make sure that we pay it forward. So Six of Pentacles is luck is kind of coming your way, or something financially big like a raise or things like that, or promotion, but make sure that whatever you get, just like the threefold law, that you pay it forward. Seven of Pentacles, it's pretty funny because we have a witch and she's doing some magic on this plant that's really not exactly growing like she likes, but she has to remember that there is growth in the back of her with these rose bushes. So this is a good time with the Seven of Pentacles just to take a step back and maybe tweak some things. It's not necessarily dead, but what she's working on is really not necessarily working for her. Eight of Pentacles, we find our witch again in the office. As you see, not a pentacle on site. It's really just about that labor and that human and that mundane life. But here, she must have tweaked something because it's the same plant and it's starting to grow. So now she's feeling more comfortable. She's on the phone with a client and she's kind of circling a circle of energy with her fingers. And I really do love that because it's just a perfect balance of work life and spirituality, and kind of keeping close with details and letting things happen naturally. Nine of Pentacles, again, no pentacles in sight. We have the plant here, and it's just now, she's kind of relaxed, taking a moment to just smell the roses, right? So it's a beautiful summer day. She has a really nice, like, fruity drink here. Her plants are very fruitful, but just not overgrowing. It's a perfect time in your life. And you've created a good life. Ten of Pentacles, I really do feel this way. Oh my goodness, do I relate to this card. And I've kind of mentioned this before, is that the Ten of Pentacles is now as a laborer, as a creator, as someone who works a lot. I find that when you work really hard for the things that you have, you kind of like to keep them, right? Not so much hoard them, but they are just special to you because you've worked so hard to achieve them. And here, for the Ten of Pentacles, now that we're having that pentacle energy and that earth energy, we're having earthly belongings. And here, her altar is so full of stuff that, like, she kind of just looked at herself and said, hey, it's almost that I can't even work because there's so much stuff. So at this point, I would suggest clearing out your altar. If you get this card in your spread, maybe it's time to kind of step back and find the beauty and simplicity. And I've mentioned that in my grimoire flip through too. I like to keep my altar very simple because sometimes I overcrowd them with crystals and tools and things like that. And it kind of distracts me for the work that really, really matters, right? Not knocking anyone who has very beautiful and decorated altars. I do like to do that for the Sabbats and the seasons and the holidays as well. But when she finally looks at herself, she starts to put things away, and here's a box because she's starting to understand that maybe at this time she needs to dial it back because she's worked so hard for these things, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they all have to be displayed as trophies of achievement. Just dial it back, find the beauty and simplicity, and great card to end the Ten of Pentacles. All right, so that was the Minor Arcana. I hope you guys really enjoyed that. I really loved telling the story of our witch. That could be me, that could be you. So let me know down below if you relate to any of these cards. I would love to hear. Okay, let's quickly go through the elementals here. And the The Pagan Tarot, the elementals are really, and in actuality, the purest form of energy. So that's why I say when you work with elementals, you have to be super strict because it's such a pure form of energy. There's no means to beginning or ends. It just is. So when we talk about the cups here are represented by a beautiful undine. And undine is really like the connection of a fairy and a mermaid, and it's said to be the most beautiful of beings, right? So here we have the cup, which we all know as an emotional energy. So when this comes up in your spread, it's all about romance, being creative, and being artistic. The earth elemental found in the pentagrams is a gnome, and he's so cute. His main job is really to protect the land and the animals, maybe sometimes humans, but really he stands for protection and healing. So when you get this in your spread, it really is a good time to look out for protection in your finances and your health, and any projects that need to be completed. If you get this card, it's a good time to do that. The element of the swords and is the air energy is the sylph. And the sylph is beautifully portrayed from like a winged type fairy / cherub. And just like air, her actions are like changeable, and they're very like type mutable, right? Energy. So with the east, again, it's more of like an intellectual thing and how we communicate, and really using this energy to face current problems, issues, and belief systems. And to me, I think the last of them, which I feel is most powerful source of energy, is that fire energy, and is brought to you by the salamander here. And this is an elemental salamander. I mean, obviously it doesn't shoot out fire and it looks quite different, but they really want you to get that type of fierceness. And this is all about inspiration pertaining to a career, a project in progress, or any possible new things that you are starting in your life. If an elemental comes into your spread of fire, it's time to gather all your inspiration and make that happen. So here are your elementals for the Pagan Tarot. Okay, so we're going to start with these two suits first. So we have the novice, the initiate, and the elder. So one common trait that you can see when it comes to the court cards, which I really do absolutely love, and it just makes sense, is that the backgrounds change and they develop as obviously as you become more experienced and more knowledgeable in your craft. So we have the novice of swords. So she's looking at her sword and she's getting that that intellect. She's using incense burner, but she's not really holding it because she doesn't have control of it. She's just letting the air kind of do its thing, because this is a very airy card. And if you notice that there's one cardinal in the tree. So looking at her ritual dagger, she has her stone, but it's still very novice. She wants to set a goal and she's using her intellect to get there. When it becomes into initiate, and that's kind of the level where I'm at, is that you possibly have been initiated into a coven, or is taking your Wicca degrees and you may be on your first or second degree. So this is a little bit more contemplative. He has his incense burner in his hand. He also holds his ritual athame a little bit more profoundly. And there's two birds. So you could just see the progression of how they hold their tools. So as an elder, you are really the high priest or the high priestess, and your garb has completely changed. You have your book of shadows and you're really willing to spread information. When you come into the pentacles and doing more of earthly labors, you have the novice looking at the pentacle and have a little fruit basket, but very if you can really see the difference in the garb between the swords and the pentacles, this is very more practical and a little bit more low-key and not so flashy. So you have your initiate. She has a pentacle and she's holding a really ornate chalice. And then you get to your elder. So I don't want to spend too much time because it goes in a good descriptive pattern here. But what I do want to share is that each elder, which I find very interesting, has a book of shadows. And I love that they have that because it's just another representation of their age and how far they've come and their willingness to really share, right? So this is, I'm sure, the Coven book where everyone's information is held. So he's really holding all that information. So you have a fire that's starting, one that's really going, and then the other one that's really allowing smoke, and it's kind of have lived the course of its life as in regards to heat and providing light. So again, your elder is with the book and you have more lush backgrounds and the fire is more established. And here again, you have your water and your initiate, which is holding has a moonstone necklace, really getting that moon energy. You have an elk in the back, and then you have going from a maiden to a mother type with the family in the back, and then your elders where these two have grown. So it's just a beautiful portrayal of the elements and their suits as they grow. So if this comes up into your spreads, this is something really, any of the court cards, especially elementals, it's something that you should definitely meditate on because this is a little bit more powerful and meaningful. And really what I love about the Pagan Tarot, possibly the best thing about the Pagan Tarot, is that it doesn't follow a traditional court. It really makes sense to your practice. So if you are an initiate and you get the novice, maybe it's something that you still have to dial back and take another learning process or another class to kind of get knowledge in something else. Because even if you're an elder, we always say this practice is a journey of being a student. You'll never find all the answers and you'll never stop learning. So it's really a cycle. When you get this card, it doesn't physically and literally mean that this is where you are. It's just that you can take different stages of your path and put them into your spread and how you feel in the current state. So that's that. Woo. It's been a while. This is a long video, but I'm really happy that you guys came along. So yeah, that's been the Pagan Tarot. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to comment down below. And I really hope you enjoyed this. And until the next Witchy Wednesday, bye.